Welcome back to another episode of BreBre Talks MMA. Alex Pantoja is going to be defending the flyweight title in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, against flyweight Steve Carell. I'm joking. Steve Erceg. I believe he's ranked number 10 at flyweight, and he has 3 fights in the UFC. So I'm really not sure how this is gonna go for him. The weird thing though, like, this is something that people I feel like don't understand about flyweight. In flyweight, it's very common to see all the guys in the top 15 basically like winning and losing against each other all the time. It's not a very deep division, but it is still a very competitive division just because of how technically skilled a lot of those fighters are. And you really can't have any holes in your game. And I've talked to multiple fighters about this. I've talked to pro flyweights about this, and they say the exact same thing. Like, at flyweight, you really have to be very well rounded, and you have to be really good in whatever your area of expertise is on top of that. So you can't just be well-rounded either, because then you're basically, even with all the other guys. You have to have something that like makes you stand out. So Steve Erceg, he does have that. He does have knockout power. And that knockout over Matt Schnell was incredible. His boxing is really good. And I feel like I haven't seen enough of him to really give like an actual breakdown of this fight, just because it's such, it is a mismatch. Like, let's just be honest. This is a huge mismatch. Like, Alex Pantoja has beat everyone in that division almost. And like, there's very few people in that division that he has not beat. So it's very hard for me to believe that a number 10 guy has the ability to change that. But it's MMA. You never know. Anything can happen. Injuries happen. Crazy stuff happens. I don't know. I'm not going to count him out. But like, if we're being real, it's very astronomically low, the odds that he will win this fight, in my opinion. Alex Pantoja has never been finished. Like, so how is he going to beat him? That's my question. I just don't see a very clear path to victory for Steve Erceg. As cool as it would be to see the belt go back to Australia and to see somebody, what an incredible story that would be. That would be so inspiring to so many, not only fans, but fighters, like young fighters who are like up and coming. If they see that, they're gonna be hyped. Like, they're gonna be like, oh wow, I can win a title. Like, if flyweight Steve Carell can win a title, you guys can win a title too. No, but Steve Erceg is actually really good. I'm making it sound like he's a bum, and he's really not. It's just Pantoja is that good. He's that good. I thought Brandon Moreno was gonna avenge that loss to Pantoja, and he didn't. It was a close fight, but still, it was. Well, I'll say this. I thought you could argue that Moreno won that fight, but I wasn't like super mad about it. But I did think there was a strong argument for Moreno in that fight. But it's flyweight. It's fast paced. It's competitive. They're hard. Flyweight fights are so hard to score too, just because there's so much going on. But let's kind of take a look here at the numbers anyways, even though I kind of have a feeling of how this fight's going to go. I think that Steve Erceg either is going to lose to a decision or probably a submission. And Alex Pantoja, the only thing about him is he is shorter. So he's 5'5", and I believe Steve Erceg is like 5'8". I'll have to look that up in a second to make sure, but I'm pretty sure he's 5'8". So he does have a height advantage on Pantoja, and he's fairly tall for that division. So that could be an advantage, but At the end of the day, with his style being a little more boxing heavy, and that seems to be what works for him with winning fights, I just don't see that working against Pantoja. Like if Brandon Moreno couldn't do it, it's just hard for me to get on board that Usyk could do it. And I feel like I keep saying the same thing over and over again, and I probably am, but it's just, I just don't see it happening. I mean, okay, well, getting back to the numbers. So Alex Pantoja is 34 years old, so he is younger, or he is older. He's not, you know, that's an advantage for Steve Usyk too. That's an advantage. Age is an advantage, especially at flyweight. But at the end of the day, still, I'm still going with Pantoja. I'm just kind of giving Steve Usyk the benefit of the doubt here. So Pantoja is 27-5, and he trains at American Top Team, which is one of, I would say, the top 3 gyms in the world for MMA. So just that alone, Usyk is like, the gym that Usyk is training at, I believe, is a gym, like a smaller gym in Australia. I don't think he trains at like the city kickboxing gym or any of that. Like, I think he trains at a smaller gym. So that can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing, because I don't know what kind of training partners he has. I don't know what kind of, there's just, that's an advantage for Pantoja for sure. That's an advantage, having access to all those training partners and coaching, and just, yeah, that's huge. So I don't know. Let's just take a look at Steve Usyk's resume real quick. I mean, I've looked at it before, but let's look at it again anyways. He only has 1 loss as a pro, and it was very early in his career. It was his second pro fight, and it was a decision. So he's never been finished. He did have an amateur career. Looks like he had several amateur fights, and he only lost 1 of those. I don't know how he lost, but he lost to Dennis Bondar, who he used to be in the UFC. It's funny they fought as amateurs, but anyways. Yeah, I mean, his let's look at all his UFC wins. So in the UFC, his debut was David Dvorak. That was impressive. That was an impressive performance. It went to decision, but that was a really impressive performance. And then Alessandro Costa, that was a decision as well, but again, very good performance. And then Matt Schnell, the second round knockout. That was beautiful, because basically what he did is he threw to the body, and then he threw to the head to get the knockout. It was like, the way he set it up was just beautiful. And I love what he did when he threw the body shot. He like rotated into the body shot, and then used that momentum to rotate back into the headshot, the knockout. And I feel like that is probably where he got a lot of that power from, and that momentum. It's funny, like, sometimes the first punch you throw, it's not really going to be that hard. It's the one that comes after it that really like has that power to it. And so I feel like that was kind of, I don't know, I don't even know if that's like something he planned on doing in this fight, or if that was his strategy. But man, that was beautiful. That was beautiful boxing. And the way that he landed, like, it's really hard to land body shots clean to the side like he did, because usually somebody's arm's in the way, or like they're moving around, their gloves, whatever. It's a little bit, I would imagine it's probably easier in MMA just because the gloves are smaller, so it's a smaller target, I guess. But, or I guess a bigger target, we would say, but you have less in the way basically with MMA gloves. So that body shot that he landed, the first one, I don't know how, like, if you landed that same body shot with boxing gloves on, I don't know that it would have landed as precisely and as beautifully and cleanly as it did with MMA gloves. And that's one thing I love about MMA. MMA striking is beautiful to watch because you can see every shot. You can see it. You can see everything that's happening. And that's why MMA, to me, is sometimes more interesting to watch than boxing. And I love boxing. All I do is train boxing. I don't even like training anything else because I love boxing. But watching it as a sport, I love MMA. And I'm going on another tangent here. But anyways, so it is really hard to predict this fight, though, because obviously Steve Erceg has never fought anybody on the caliber of Alex Pantoja. Not even close. Not even close. Not even close. Like, no. So this is crazy. This is crazy. But like I said, it's MMA. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. But let's move on. Let's look at the rest of the card because I think, we've already talked about that enough. Jonathan Martinez versus Jose Aldo. So Jose Aldo coming out of retirement to fight a very scary opponent in Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez is good. Like, he's really good. And I'm not saying he's going to beat Jose Aldo. He might. He absolutely might. He's got some impressive wins, and his last win over Adrian Yanez was extremely impressive. The interesting thing about this fight is that both these guys have really nasty leg kicks. Like, nasty leg kicks. And I think that we'll see who has the best ones. But I don't know. I feel like especially in the Yan fight, like, thinking back to that fight, Jose Aldo didn't utilize his leg kicks like he used to. Like, prime Aldo's leg kicks were a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. So I'm hoping he implements that into his strategy again, because I do think that was a huge part of his game and a huge part of why he was so successful. So I hope to see some nice Jose Aldo leg kicks in this fight. But like I said, Jonathan Martinez has some really nice leg kicks too. So it'll be interesting. I do think Jose Aldo has really good boxing, and he also has really good jiu-jitsu. So he's a very well-rounded fighter. And I think that fighters like that, like when you've been around as long as Jose Aldo, when you've been in that many title fights, like every opponent, win or lose, you're learning something from them. Unless you get like a 30-second knockout or whatever, But if you're in there with high-level guys, like, that's a huge experience gain no matter what. So even if, even the fights that Jose Aldo lost, like, he evolved through those fights. And that's why I think he's truly, like, such a complete fighter. And I'm curious to see how this goes. I am very curious. I'm definitely leaning toward Jose Aldo, but I'm definitely not sleeping on Jonathan Martinez because he is really good. He's on a tear. He's on, let's see, is he on a 6-fight winning streak? Let me check. He's on a 6-fight winning streak right now. That's impressive, especially at bantamweight. I mean, Adrian Yanez, Said Nurmagomedov, Cub Swanson, Vince Morales. Yeah. Alex Perez, who just got a really nice knockout. So definitely, I feel like this is, I don't know. I don't think it's 50-50 quite necessarily, but I feel like it's 50-50 slightly leaning toward Aldo, just because, like, I don't know. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. And by the way, I didn't have any notes prepared for today because I've been procrastinating doing this. So I'm sorry if it's, like, literally all over the place. I apologize. But sometimes I feel like this is more fun than, like, writing out all my notes and everything. So I kind of dig this. I don't know. I kind of like just freestyling. It's fun. But sorry if I'm ranting. Sorry if I go on tangents. Anyways, I feel like Jose Aldo, I don't know. It's just, why would he come out of retirement if he didn't think he was going to win this fight? And of course, like, why would you even take a fight if you don't think you're going to win? But people do it all the time, trust me. So I just can't see Jose Aldo losing in Rio again. There's no way. There's no way he's going to do that again. I can't see it happening. I can't see it. There's no way. Yeah, I'm taking Jose Aldo. I am taking Jose Aldo. I'm sorry. I decided just now. I hate doing predictions. This is so hard. You know the easiest way to do predictions for this card is, though? Just pick all the Brazilian fighters. You'll probably get half of them right at least. Okay, let's keep looking at this card because this is actually a really good card. I feel like people are sleeping on this because the main event kind of sucks, but the rest of the card is fire. Like, I'm telling you guys, let me show you. Let me show you what I'm looking at. And of course, like, this card could be trash at the end of the day, but I don't think it's going to be. I think a lot of people just don't recognize a lot of the names of the Brazilian fighters, so they automatically assume, like, oh, this card's going to suck because they don't know the names. But it's like, if you were Brazilian, you would be hyped for this card. You would be so hyped for this card if you're Brazilian. Okay, so going down the list, Vitor Petrino versus Anthony Smith. Why would they do this? Why would they do this? Why? What? Okay. I kind of forgot who his opponent was, and then I just looked, I'm like, oh. Why? I love Anthony Smith. But man, he does have more experience, a lot more experience though. A lot more experience. But I don't know. I don't know that his experience is really doing much for him anymore. I think it's actually working against him at this point. I hate saying that because I love Anthony Smith. But why did they do this? Why couldn't they put him with, like, I don't know, literally anyone else? Like, why? Why is this happening? I hate this fight so much. I hate it. But it's probably going to be a good fight. That's the crazy thing. Because Anthony Smith fights are always usually fun to watch. I will say that. Even if he loses, I love watching his fights because he's a dog. So, but I don't know. I mean, I keep going back and forth in my head with this, but I just don't see an undefeated Brazilian losing in Rio. I don't see it. But we'll see. You never know. It's MMA. That'd be great if Anthony could get another win, but I don't know. I'm not super optimistic about it, I will admit. Why can't... I'm trying to click on this fight and I can't click on it. What the heck is going on? Anyways. Michel Pereira versus Ihor Potieria. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Michel Pereira, he's a capoeira fighter. He's very entertaining. His walkouts are entertaining. His fights are entertaining. His celebration is entertaining. I mean, this guy, I don't know where he gets all his energy from. It's insane. But I really like watching him. I was hoping for a little bit of a higher caliber opponent for him next. But I don't know. Maybe I just don't know this Ihor fella as well as I should. He's 21-5. That's actually really impressive. Let's see, he's from Ukraine. Nice. And he is coming off of a win over Robert BreBre. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. He has a win over Shogun, but that's probably a well past his prime Shogun. And he lost to Carlos Ulberg. Oh. He got knocked out. I don't remember that fight. I know I watched it, but I don't remember it at all. I feel like I remember fights for like literally 2 weeks and then they're just gone. They're gone. It's just, there's too many fights. How am I supposed to keep this all straight? It's crazy. I need like an extra brain to like store all this information in. Maybe my brain's just not big enough. That could be the case. But with like, you would think my forehead's so big, you'd think my brain would be gigantic. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really see a whole lot of like huge wins on his resume. Wait. Yeah. No. He fought He fought a guy making his debut when he was 9-2. That's crazy. That's crazy. And the guy's 0-2 now. What? How do some of these matchups get approved? I swear. Like I hear about some stuff that doesn't get approved in St. Louis, and then I see some stuff that gets approved in like other countries and like other cities, and it's like, what? Like, I don't know. The athletic commission is different everywhere, but I don't know. I feel like that really does affect a fighter's career though, with getting good matchups. Like, it's really important. But anyways, I digress. Paul Craig versus Cal Barallo. I can never know how to pronounce his name. I feel like Joey Diaz on this episode. I'm literally butchering all of these names. Paul Craig. I think he might lose. I like Paul Craig. Paul Craig is good. But I actually really would have rather seen him fight like, I don't know, maybe like Joe Pyfer would be fun. I think that would be a fun fight for him. But if he loses this fight, then he's not going to get Joe Pyfer. If he wins, they could easily make Joe Pyfer versus Paul Craig if they both win their next fights. And Joe Pyfer's fighting on UFC 303. He is fighting. Who's his opponent? Don't tell me. Who's his opponent? Who is it? Oh, shit. I forgot. Joe Pyfer is fighting. What's his name? God. What is his name? I can't think of his name for the life of me. I cannot think of it. Oh, I gotta look it up now. I have to look it up. It's gonna bother me all day. And I'm gonna be so mad when I read it because I'm gonna be like, oh yeah. Oh. Marc-Andre Barriault. Who is coming off a loss to Chris Curtis. That's actually a good matchup. I feel like that should be a win for Joe Pyfer. And I feel like that would be a good fight if he wins to get his confidence back and get him back in the win column and get back to chasing that title. Because, I mean, he didn't lose that bad to Jack Hermansson. Like, it was a dominant win for Jack, but it wasn't like, I don't know. I didn't think it was really that bad. I think Jack Hermansson is just a very difficult guy to fight. He's very weird. Like, the way he fights, like, not him as a person. He seems like a really nice guy. But his fighting style is really weird. It's so unorthodox. And I feel like that is, like, Joe Pyfer even said it on Joe Rogan's podcast. He was like, I don't want to fight that guy. He's like, that would be so annoying to fight that guy. And yeah. I think he was right. But I don't know. I think he took that fight because he knew he could win. I mean, he was the favorite. He knew he could win. Like, he that was a winnable fight for Joe Pyfer. And also, I think he got a pay raise and a new contract with that. So it worked out for him, I think. I think it worked out for him pretty well. But I know he probably was disappointed not getting that win bonus. So maybe him and Money Moicano should team up. because they both seem to really like money. And and they both like to talk too. Joe Anderson Brito versus Jack Shore. Jack Shore, I've seen some of his fights. So he had the win over Makwan Amirkhani. And let's see. Oh, he lost to Ricky Simone. Ricky Simone's good though. And that was almost 2 years ago. Yeah, this guy, I feel like he's been in the UFC for a while, but he just kind of flies under the radar. What's the next fight? Oh, Carolina. I've pronounced this name like one time correctly. Can't remember for the life of me how to do it. Kowalkiewicz? She's Polish. Oh, I have a friend that's Polish. God, this is so hard pronouncing these names. Yasmin Lucindo. Oh, she's good. She's actually really good. I remember I kind of underestimated her in her last fight. She's actually really talented. And she's 15-5, but she has 8 knockouts. That's crazy. Especially for strawweight. That'll be a fun fight. That actually might be a banger. That really might. I don't know. I'm just saying people sleep on women's MMA so much. And I'm not saying this to be like a feminist, okay? Don't get it twisted. If you guys knew me in real life, you would realize, like, that's not who I am. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all about supporting women and all that, but, like, some people take it too far. Way too far. But I do think that people really sleep on women's MMA. And women, here's the thing about women's MMA. Women are very emotionally intelligent, and they are easier to coach a lot of times than men. Not always, but a lot of times women are easier to coach because we are emotionally intelligent. We're more mature for the most part, and we learn quickly. And so I feel like, I don't know, I just want to see more growth in women's MMA and women's combat sports in general, women's boxing, women's Muay Thai. I feel like just there's a whole stigma about it in the community, and I don't like it. Because people think like, oh, MMA is going to get feminized, and it's like, no, it's not. You guys need women more than you think. Okay? And we need you. We need men. Men and women need each other. Okay? So let's just stop with the whole victim mentality of I hate women and I hate men. Because I know that's what it is a lot of times. It's like people don't want to see women doing things that, better than them. It's so weird. Anyways. Mitbeck Oralby. Matbeck Mitbeck. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Versus Elvis Bernaire. Elvis Bernaire is really fun to watch. So they're doing this to him in Brazil? This might be the one Brazilian fighter in this card that I actually do think might lose. Joe Anderson Brito. That's possible too. But dang. That's a tough fight for Elvis. That is a tough fight. I don't know. I was really impressed with Oralby when I saw his debut. Maybe it's not as tough of a fight as I think, but I think it might be a tough fight. Just saying. William Gomis? He's French. So we pronounce it William Gomis? I don't know. Versus Jean Silva. This is a sleeper fight, guys. This is a sleeper fight. This is going to be insane. Jean Silva is so good. I remember him from Contender Series. So this guy, this was the one I think he was like 34. He was like older, I want to say. Where's he at? What's his record? 12-2. Okay. I'm trying to find his topology. Where are you at? Oh, here he is. Jean Lord Assassin Silva. Oh, he's 27. I thought he was older. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else then. He trains at Fighting Nerds. I've heard about that gym. I've heard that's a good gym. That gym is in Sao Paulo. Oh. Yeah, they got some killers at this gym. Wow. Wow, I didn't realize how many people train there. Jeez. Anyways. Let's see what else. What else is on his record that pops out to me? Yeah, I mean, he's only had one fight in the UFC. It was a really impressive knockout. In his fight in Contender Series was so good. That was such a good fight. Such a good fight. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably lean toward Jean Silva in this one. I don't know as much about this William fella, though. Don't know as much about him, so I might be sleeping on him. But we'll see. Drakkar Klose versus Joaquim Silva. Oh, yes. On the early prelims? What? That's a banger fight. That's crazy that's on the early prelims. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I am so excited. Joaquim Silva in Brazil. Yeah, I'd probably take Silva in that fight just because, yeah, I don't know. But Klose is coming off that really, really impressive. Was that the slam knockout? Or am I thinking of... Because that was the card where Cody Brundage got the slam, and then I think first Drakkar got the slam. Was I thinking of someone else? Yeah! Joe Selecki! Interesting. What was Silva's last fight? Oh, he beat Clay Guida. Yeah, that was not too long ago. And before that was the loss to Sarukian. Well, that loss aged really well for him. And before that, he had wins over Jesse Ronson, Jared Gordon. I mean, he's got some impressive wins. I feel like he's just, like, had some hiccups, but, like, really talented. Really, really talented grappler. Like, insanely talented. And then, let's see what else. Mauricio Huffy? We'll go with Huffy. Versus Jamie Malarkey. Ooh, interesting. Got a fellow Australian for Steve Versek here. Yeah, I don't know what to think about this fight. Because I don't really know much about this Mauricio guy. I know a lot about Jamie Malarkey, but I don't know. Is it Dion Barboza? I don't know how to pronounce that first name. I'm so afraid I'm going to offend these people pronouncing their name wrong, but hopefully they just don't hear me pronounce it wrong. So, Ernesta. Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt that. Kareckkaite. And the E has a little accent mark above it. She's Lithuanian. Interesting. So is Rose Namajunas. Well, she's not like born. I don't think she was born in Lithuania, but. Oh, interesting opener for this card. Kevin Boras versus Alessandro Costa. Alessandro Costa is one of the guys that Steve Erceg beat. And Kevin Boras, I believe he came from Contender Series. He really impressed me. I can't remember who he fought, because I think he made his debut since then. Oh, yeah, he made his debut against Joshua Van. Yeah, well, not surprised at the result there. Joshua Van's really good. And before that, he beat Victor Diaz. Interesting. Was that in... Yeah, that was Contender Series. Why did I not realize that was Victor Diaz that he fought? I covered the whole Contender Series on Fight Bananas. How do I not remember any of this stuff? Victor Diaz is good. Interesting. Very, very interesting fight. I don't know. I might go with Kevin Boras. I'm like super on this Peru hype train right now, and I know that Alessandro Costa is Brazilian and he's fighting in Brazil, but I really like what I've seen from Kevin Boras. So I know he lost the fight with Joshua Van, but I don't know. I think there's still something there. And I think we might see him get a win. And then Vince Pichel versus Ismail Bonfim. Oh my. This is an interesting fight. Ismail Bonfim, he's 19-4, and Pichel is 14-3. They're both coming off losses. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. Probably Bonfim, just because that would be cool if his brother was on the card too, because his brother Gabriel fights in the UFC also, but I don't think he's on this card. No, he's not. That would be cool. Well, that's the whole card, so I'm actually really excited about this now. I wasn't that excited about it. I don't know. I think that's why when I started recording this, I just kind of kept going in tangents because I was just like not as excited about this card. But now that I'm looking at it, now that I'm going through all these opponents, I'm like super excited about it. See, this is the thing that people need to do before they totally just write off a card, is look at the fights first. Like, do your research like I'm doing right now. I should have done this on Sunday like I normally do, but I didn't have time, okay? I'm getting back into my routine. I'm boxing again. I got right back in the gym when I got back from UFC 300. So I'm ready to rock. Anyways, moving on. What's the next topic? Oh, I forgot to recap the fights from Saturday. The main event was a good main event. Alex Perez got a knockout. Love to see it. And I did want to talk about the co-main event though, because what was that? What was that? What was that? If he dies, he dies, is what Herb Dean said before he got in the octagon to officiate that fight between Ryan Spann and his opponent, Bogdan Guskov. That was bad. That was really bad. Horrible. One of the worst I've seen. Very bad. Very horrible stoppage. Sorry. I don't think I've ever really criticized Herb Dean. Ever. But I'm criticizing that. Pretty sure it was Herb Dean that was reffing. Pretty sure. Yeah, that was horrible. There was like, I think I counted 12 unanswered shots on the ground. Yeah. Enough of that. That's we don't need that in this sport. This sport's already brutal enough. Like, can we not kill these people, please? Jesus. I don't know. Maybe there's more to it that I didn't see. Maybe I'm being overly critical, but I thought that was one of the worst stoppages I've seen in the UFC. In other promotions, you see really bad stoppages sometimes, especially if they're like in weird areas where the athletic commission is like, you know, kind of a joke. So I don't know. Anyways, moving on. Let's do a little preview of UFC St. Louis, because that is not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. And I will be doing media at UFC St. Louis. I'm very excited. Very, very excited. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on every single episode, but I'm just trying to promote this card because I feel like people are sleeping on this card major. And they just added Joaquin Buckley versus Nursultan Ruzaboyev, whatever his name is. Yeah. I'm so bad at these names. Jesus. Can they just put like some easier names to pronounce for me? I'm so bad. I'm just bad at pronouncing words in general. And then they want me to pronounce these names? Like, geez. Anyways. Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. Derek Lewis is 27-12. Nascimento is 11-1. He's a very good grappler. Derek Lewis is the funniest fighter in UFC history, and he has very heavy hands. I hope Derek Lewis wins. You know what? I'm picking Derek Lewis. Screw it. I really, really want Derek Lewis in the media room. Every time he touches a microphone, it's just gold. It's just gold. He has to win. We need the post-fight speech. We need it. And then let's see what else. Yeah, Joaquin Buckley. Actually, I do like Buckley's chances in that fight. Like, I know that Ruzaboyev is, I think he's 6'5". And Buckley is not 6'5". But I feel like Buckley has such good boxing, and he throws a lot of really nice body shots that I think that it actually could, not that him being shorter is necessarily going to be an advantage, but in that particular area, I think will be an advantage for Buckley, being able to really land some nice body shots and work the inside, work his boxing. I actually do like his chances. And he posted I don't know if it was him that posted or somebody posted it. He's like training with all these guys that are like 6'3" and 6'4". Like he said I think he posted it. I'm pretty sure he posted it on his Instagram. It was like there was like, I don't know, 10 guys behind him, and they were all like, I'm 6'3", I'm 6'4", and then Tavon Taylor is a local fighter here, and he trains at Wolves Den, and he's an amateur, but he's like really good. Like, he's about to go pro. And yeah. That's cool that he's training with him. That's really cool. That's awesome. I love to see it. I love what's happening with our community right now in St. Louis. It's so awesome. So awesome. And then we've got Alonzo Menefield versus Carlos Olberg. That's such a good fight. I actually like Alonzo's chances in this fight, honestly. I really like Carlos Olberg, though. He has impressed me. But I don't know. And then we've got Alex Caceres versus Sean Woodson. Again, I really like Sean Woodson's chances in this fight. Really like his chances. Of course, it's MMA. You know, anything can happen. I'm never going to put bad juju on someone and be like, oh yeah, they're absolutely going to win this fight, because I used to do that. And I'm not doing that anymore. because it's MMA. Anything can happen. But I'm really, like, tempted to bet the house on Sean Woodson on that one. Yeah, probably has the best boxing. Like, you think Topuria has good boxing? Sean Woodson has probably better boxing than Topuria. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, you guys have to understand, this guy fought as an amateur boxer for a long time. He had like over 40 amateur boxing fights. So, just saying. And the only reason he didn't go pro is because he got in an accident. He's had to face a lot of adversity in his, not only his career, but his life. And I think that I don't know, just the momentum he seems to have right now, the team he's got around him. I've talked to a lot of his team, and I just feel really confident in him in this fight. So, yeah. Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Robelis de Spain. Robelis de Spain is so scary. Yeah, I don't see him losing anytime soon either. That actually is a difficult fight for him. That's not an easy fight for Robelis. I know everybody thinks he's like indestructible, but that's not an easy fight at all. And then Chase Hooper versus I can never pronounce this guy's first name. Borshev is his last name. I can never pronounce his first name. Vyacheslav, something like that. That's a tough fight for Chase Hooper. Man, they never give him easy fights. God, all of his fights are just monsters every time. But I don't know. You never know. He's been the underdog many times before. And then we've got Terrence McKinney versus Esteban Ribovics. And we've got Tabitha Ricci versus Tisha Pennington. Used to be Tisha Torres. She's married to the champion, Raquel Pennington. It threw me off for a second. I read it and I was like, wait, I'm like, I thought it was Tisha Torres. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot they're married. I really like Tabitha Ricci's chances in that fight, but they're both really tough. They're both really, really highly skilled. So I don't know. That's going to be a really good fight, actually. I'm really excited for that one. And then Billy Goff versus Trey Waters. So I watched a little bit of film on both these guys, and I had already watched Billy Goff before. I've watched a couple of his fights, and Trey Waters was kind of a newer name to me. I hadn't really watched any of his stuff, or at least I didn't remember watching it, which that's probably what it was. I probably just don't remember. But he's really tall. He's 6'5". Jeez, I didn't realize he was that tall. I knew he was tall, but wow. They got two of the tallest welterweights in the same card. That's insane. That's insane. But yeah, Billy Goff versus Trey Waters, I think that's going to be a great fight. I'm really, really impressed with what I've seen from both of them, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. I think Billy Goff just has like the it factor a little bit more. I think that's, but you never know. It's MMA. I never want to like hype somebody up too much. I'm so afraid of doing that now. Like, I feel like I'm going to hype somebody up too much and then they're going to get too hyped and then people are like, oh, they suck. It's like, I'm sorry. I thought they were good. Or they are good. It's just sometimes they lose. Like, that's another thing. I've talked about this so many times, but when a fighter loses, I don't know why people just feel the need to turn on them immediately. It actually drives me insane. Like, just because a fighter loses doesn't mean they're not good. It just means their opponent was better on that particular night. That's all it means. That's all it means. Jared Gooden versus Kevin Jousset. Or Jousset. I didn't realize he was French. JJ Aldrich versus Veronica Hardy. Gosh, I'm pumped for that fight. That's going to open the card, too. That's awesome. I really like Veronica Hardy. And then Charles Johnson, St. Louis's own. Charles Johnson versus Jay Cadley. That's going to be a crazy fight. That's going to be insane. I love flyweight. Flyweight's probably my favorite to watch. I feel like I say that about every division at some point, but I'm like this week is flyweight, and then next week I'll be like, heavyweight's my favorite division ever. And then I'll be like, the next week I'll be like, you know what I really like? Middleweight. And then the next week I'll be like, you know what's really awesome? Women's flyweight. I love them all. They all get their 15 minutes of fame on my show. Every division gets their 15 minutes of fame, okay? That's how it works. But flyweight actually is my favorite to watch. By far. By far. Oh, I wanted to talk about a couple things. Yuri was talking about moving to 185. I honestly, I don't love that for him. But he is such an unorthodox fighter that I feel like it could work. Especially in that division. Like, some of those matchups would be interesting. But I don't know. Like, him versus... Oh, God. Him versus Hamzat. I don't know if I like that. Just because of Hamzat's wrestling. I feel like... But, actually... the way that Yuri fights might counteract that a little bit, now that I'm thinking about it. That would be interesting. And also, Robert Whittaker versus Yuri would be very interesting, and I know Robert Whittaker was saying something about it. So he's obviously paying attention. I don't know. I do like Yuri better at 205, though. Because I feel like there's more really high-level grapplers in middleweight than at 205, especially in, like, the upper echelon of the division. But I feel like... I don't know. I don't know what I think about that. But he said he wants to win the title back first. I wonder if he's going to fight Pereira again. That would be interesting. But speaking of Poatan, I saw John Jones tweeted, who would you rather... Actually, I'm just going to read it so that way I'm not misquoting what he said. And then we'll talk about it for a second. We will talk about it. He said, who would you guys want to see me fight the most? Alex or Tom? So this is interesting that he's posting this, because does this mean he's not going to fight Stipe? I wouldn't be surprised, because I feel like the mystique of that fight has just gone. It's gone. That fight's not exciting anymore, and I said that last episode. I think that Alex Pereira versus John Jones is the fight to make at heavyweight. Especially if Pereira defends the title again or beats Aspinall. But I just don't see John Jones sticking around for too much longer. So I think that if Pereira wants to get the fight with John Jones, that now is the time. Because that window will close very quickly. So with Pereira being double champion, that definitely helps his case. I get it. People want to see the belt unified. But at the end of the day, it's John Jones. This isn't your typical heavyweight. This isn't your typical champion. It's John Jones. So he gets treated a little differently, you know? And yes, it's a little unfair, I guess. But is it fair that Steve Erceg is fighting for a title? No. So who cares? This isn't about fairness all the time. Otherwise, Bilal would have got his title shot 3 fights ago. So, I do think that Pereira presents a lot of problems for John Jones. But I feel like I would slightly lean toward Pereira just because of his power. It's hard to bet against him at this point. But I would probably, if it goes past the second round, would say Jones all day. 100%. just because I feel like in a longer fight, I would favor Jones. Because remember the fight with Adesanya, the 5-rounder. Well, that was the one where Pereira finished him. The first MMA fight, not their first fight, but their first MMA fight. And that fight, if it would have gone the distance, Adesanya would have got his hand raised, and Pereira would not be champion. So I do really think that, I think Pereira is just not a good point fighter for MMA. Maybe for kickboxing, but for MMA, I feel like his fight IQ isn't quite on the level of Jon Jones, and he doesn't have as many weapons as Jon Jones. Jon Jones, he's just very good at a lot of different things. He's very good in the clinch. He's very good at wrestling. He's very good at striking. I would say actually though, his clinch game and his grappling are probably his biggest strong suits, and also just his fight IQ and his experience. I think that's the biggest thing. And he's just very good at winning. He figures out a way to win every time. He figures it out. He's very good at getting to the victory by any means necessary. So, and some of those fights were questionable decisions. Let's be real, but that's okay. I feel like he made up for it when he submitted Ciryl Gane. But here's the thing. A lot of people are comparing Alex Pereira to Ciryl Gane, and they're not the same fighter at all. Not even close. Not even close. Alex Pereira, I guarantee you, has 10 times better ground game than Ciryl Gane. And I'm not just saying that because he got his black belt, because even then, I'm pretty sure Ciryl Gane's a blue belt. Pereira's Brazilian. Of course he's going to have good jiu-jitsu. He has they have access to amazing jiu-jitsu academies there. So, yeah, I mean, there's exceptions. Not every Brazilian fighter has amazing jiu-jitsu. Some of them don't, but it's pretty rare. Pretty rare that they don't. So, yeah, I just think that I don't know. I think Pereira actually does have a really good chance to beat Jon Jones. If it was prime Jon Jones at light heavyweight, I would say absolutely not. But we're talking about a heavyweight Jon Jones that hasn't fought since, what was that? A year ago? Almost? It might be a year since that fight. So, yeah. I don't know. And I thought Jon Jones, I didn't think he was going to take Ciryl down that fast, so I thought he was going to strike with him for a little bit, and then I was like, oh, if he strikes with Ciryl Gane, he might either get outpointed or he might get knocked out. But no. He took him down immediately and submitted him. And he could do that with Pereira. I just think Pereira has better not even just takedown defense necessarily, because Ciryl Gane actually, he doesn't have terrible takedown defense. But Pereira, I feel has pretty good submission defense. And I think he's better. I just think he's better on the ground than people think. He just hasn't shown it really in his fights. And that's the thing too, with fighters, a lot of times they don't show all areas of their game until they're fully evolved, until they've been in the UFC for a while, and then you start to see Jim Miller, he started getting a bunch of knockouts late in his career, and other fighters too. I'm trying to think of one that has really, Max Holloway. Everybody said he didn't have knockout power, and he knocked out one of the most heavy hitters at lightweight. So yeah, fighters evolve in their career as they get older, as they get more experienced, and also they start to reveal more of their game, as they get different matchups, different opponents, different strategies. So I think that, I think Pereira has a lot of his game that he hasn't shown yet. And I would like to see him test himself against Jon Jones. I think that would be a GOAT fight, potentially, because we're talking about a triple champion. If Pereira beats Jon Jones, you're telling me he's not in the GOAT conversation if he does that? He would be in the GOAT conversation of combat sports athletes of all time, not even just MMA, because of his kickboxing resume too. So, yeah, I actually like his chances, but we'll see. We'll see if they make that fight. I don't know. It could happen. I'm just saying it could happen. I feel like something crazy is about to be announced. I can feel it in the air. I can feel the vibes. I can feel it in the air. Something crazy is about to get announced. It's probably going to involve Pereira. Either Yuri and Pereira are going to get fights announced, or they're going to end up fighting each other. And then something probably within the next month, I would think, with Jon Jones. We would find out about that. Because we have to find that out. What is Jon Jones doing? Either fight or vacate at this point, in my opinion. Because Tom Aspinall is... I mean, he's the champion right now. If we just exclude Jon Jones, like, he's the champion of the division. He earned it. And not that Jon Jones didn't earn it, but he didn't earn it in the traditional way, in the rankings and how you normally do it. But I actually do really like Pereira at heavyweight. I think Tom Aspinall is an absolute nightmare for Jon Jones and Pereira. So, I think that probably what would most likely happen would be that Pereira fights Jones. And then if Pereira wins, he fights Aspinall and they unify the belt that way. Or he's going to fight Aspinall next before he fights Jon Jones, if he ends up fighting Jon Jones, which that's a big if, but I would love to see it. But I don't know what's going to happen. There's just so much speculation, so many unanswered questions. Like, I just want to know. I just want to know what's going to happen. But anyways, before I ramble too much, I will go ahead and close the show today. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting. Thank you to Kimura for partnering with me. I really have just been having a blast kind of getting this all up and running, and we're working on the website, so I'm going to be writing articles for Kimura soon, and it's going to be really fun. So stay tuned for more. I really appreciate all of you. Love you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Bye.